Greetings and welcome to the Culture Ward, where we dissect and dismantle pop culture in all its forms. Avengers Doomsday, set to release in December of 2026, is already causing controversy amongst a certain segment of the quote fandom. A teaser trailer that was supposed to premiere this weekend at showings of the new Avatar movie was apparently leaked ahead of schedule, and it apparently prominently featured Chris Evans, returning as Steve Rogers, hinting that he would have a major role in the upcoming team-up film. This potential development has caused a firestorm of criticism on social media by people who think Steve Rogers' return will delegitimize Sam Wilson's role as Captain America, or something stupid like that. Join us as we break down this latest idiotic squabble. But before we begin, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and help us grow the channel. As always, it really means a lot to us. And don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoy the content. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so it's been a little while since I made a Marvel video. Mostly because there really hasn't been anything interesting happening in the MCU in this rare lull of content. Besides Fantastic Four premiering on Disney Plus last month and drawing some of the worst ratings of any Disney Plus premiere ever, and occasional leaks or rumors about the Avengers or Spider-Man Brand New Day movies, both of which are set to premiere in 2026, it's just been kind of quiet over there in Feige land. But finally, in line with rumors that have been circulating for a while, it was recently confirmed that the first trailers for Avengers Doomsday would be dropping alongside the newest Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, which premieres this weekend. According to sources, there are 3 or 4 separate teasers that will play randomly at different screenings of Avatar this weekend, before, I assume, a general release sometime after. Now, reactions to this news have been mixed. Some people are irritated that Marvel decided to make multiple different trailers, meaning that no one will be able to see all of them unless they happen to see Avatar multiple times over the weekend and get lucky that they see a different trailer each time. Some people are excited and applaud the marketing genius of tying the teasers to what will no doubt be the biggest movie event of the year. And some people, probably the vast majority, just don't give a shit one way or the other. Anyway, prior to the official release of these trailers, apparently one of them was leaked online a few days ago. It has since been removed, although I'm led to believe you can still find it if you really want to see it, but it basically just shows Chris Evans, who played Captain America in the MCU until his departure in Avengers Endgame, appearing as Steve Rogers. Remember at the end of Endgame, when Steve Rogers decided to stay in the past and live his life out with Peggy Carter, instead of returning to his own timeline? He was seen sometime after World War II was over, dancing with Peggy in a little house. Well, the trailer apparently shows Steve riding his motorcycle home, putting away his Captain America suit, and embracing a baby, presumably his child, and that's really it, nothing more. Well, apparently, this extremely brief, extremely unexciting teaser has Marvel fans divided. Some Marvel fans, at least some tedious people who claim to be Marvel fans. Whatever, why on earth would any fans be divided about this seemingly inconsequential reveal? So Avengers Doomsday trailer revealed in new leaks that divide Marvel fans. On Monday, Marvel fans got their first unofficial look at Avengers Doomsday amid a flurry of leaks and reports that Marvel Studios plans to tease the next Avengers film across multiple trailers over multiple weeks. According to The Hollywood Reporter, there's 4 different trailers for Avengers Doomsday, reportedly attached to another Disney movie, Avatar Fire and Ash, which opens officially on Thursday. Now, those trailers are said to be rolling out on a weekly basis in hopes that Marvel fans will show up to theaters multiple times, but Marvel's plan may have already been spoiled. The first of those trailers, featuring the return of Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, has already leaked online, initially in grainy low-res style. The poor quality has led to questions about its authenticity, but blah blah blah. New, higher resolution uploads of the first Avengers Doomsday trailer certainly lend weight to its legitimacy. So what does the Avengers Doomsday trailer reveal? The first of 4 trailers for Avengers Doomsday is all about Steve Rogers. As Marvel fans know, in Avengers Endgame, Steve gave up the role of Captain America during his mission to return the Infinity Stones to their respective places in the main MCU timeline. Steve opted not to time travel back to the MCU's present and instead lived the life he was denied, marrying, we assume, Peggy Carter, and eventually becoming Old Man Steve.
Well, after I put the stones back, I thought, maybe I'll try some of that life Tony was telling me to get.
So the first teaser, as I said, shows him riding his motorcycle home, putting away his Captain America uniform, and embracing an infant that is assumed to be his own. The identity of that child isn't revealed, but it puts Steve on the same level of Thor and Tony Stark as relatively newly minted fathers. So why are Marvel fans divided over Avengers Doomsday trailers? Well, first, there's the teaser being a that's it reveal for a lot of fans, like me. Marvel fans really want to see Downey's Doom or the reassembled Avengers and X-Men, and the first trailer for Doomsday doesn't deliver any of that. It's just Steve parking his motorcycle and holding a happy baby. Then a Doomsday clock countdown to December 18th, 2026, the release date for Avengers Doomsday, which is over a year away from now, by the way. Then there's anti-finality of it all. Endgame provided clean, bittersweet closure for a lot of Marvel fans who were happy to see Steve Rogers hand off the shield and finally find happiness in the time in which he was supposed to live and with the woman he loved.
What? What the fuck?
Alright, I have to stop here. So, what fans were happy to see Steve Rogers hand off the shield? Because I sure wasn't. At least not the way that it happened. So, Captain America gave up his life to save millions of lives at the end of World War II when he went down with the ship. And that was a noble ending for him. But after Endgame, what, he took it back? Because by returning to the past and living out the life he was supposed to live, he basically undoes the sacrifice that he made. And furthermore, he's altering history for his own selfish reasons, robbing Peggy of an entire life that she was meant to live without him, and taking away her family and friends in the process, and changing God knows how many other things. But perhaps worst of all, did he just stop being a hero in the 1940s? He lived his life in quiet suburban tranquility while his friends fought, suffered, and died multiple times? He let Bucky be tortured and exploited for decades while he stood by and did nothing? And he let Hydra fester inside S.H.I.E.L.D. for 75 years without doing anything about it? Holy shit, that Steve Rogers is a monster. The ending in Endgame literally ruins the character of Steve Rogers. And his little handing off of the shield to Sam Wilson at the very end of his quiet little life, that was stupid too, and meaningless. Steve Rogers is Captain America, and always will be. He can't just give the shield to someone else and make them Captain America. That's not how it works. Anyway, I digress. The mantle of Captain America was bestowed upon Sam Wilson, and that was that. Doomsday appears to undo much of that, dragging Steve back into the mix and muddying the status quo of who will be Captain America going forward. Marvel fans are also facing the unpleasant reality that Disney and Marvel Studios are pulling the ripcord with Doomsday, bringing back Downey, Evans, and the cast of the Fox-era X-Men films as part of a major nostalgia play. After years of post-Endgame meh, Marvel and the Russos are retreating to a proven formula. Assemble the whole damn MCU cast for another two-part Avengers epic, and hope that the box office performance of Marvel's Phase 5 was just a phase. The next generation of Marvel's heroes, the Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, hasn't quite landed with audiences, and maybe the next will. Alright, that's really what I want to talk about. So, there's people on social media having public meltdowns because Chris Evans is obviously being brought back to help save the MCU, and some retards are worried that he's going to overshadow or delegitimize Anthony Mackie as the new Captain America. Let's take a look at a few of these ridiculous things first. Alright, so Hot Girl Cap says, "End of the world, forced out of retirement, a hero's job is never done. Sam will be overshadowed once again. Fans using this to push their narrative that Sam was never the legitimate Cap anyway. We'll never be free of Steve Rogers, God help us." Alright, if this is true, this is a shitty thing to do to Anthony Mackie, especially after turning his first solo Captain America film into a backdoor Incredible Hulk sequel. Alright, Kiki says, "After building up new characters, Disney is listening and caving to the bitch and whiners who make the most noise on social media and don't want to see any progress. What else is new?" Alright, the T'Challa Stan says, "Marvel focusing on the big three from the previous saga instead of the characters they've been building up the last 5 to 6 years shows everything wrong with Doomsday, by the way. Big, if the leaks are true, this means nothing anymore. Feel sorry for Sam. Fuck the Russo brothers, fuck Kevin Feige, hope Bob Iger gets an RSVP ticket straight to hell for the AI billion-dollar deal, fuck Disney. Sam Wilson, you deserve so much better than being overshadowed like this. I really hope this movie doesn't sideline him." Alright, Steve Rogers had the best ending possible in the Endgame, just like Wolverine and Logan, but Marvel is fucking greedy and destroying a proper cinematic universe. If Steve is back, what is the point of making Sam Wilson Captain America? I am done with the MCU. Tired of seeing people shit on Sam Wilson, Reed Richards, F4, and Brave New World in favor of bringing old man Steve Rogers back from secret retirement to fight an F4 villain. Green Casey says even if Steve isn't Cap, him being the lead over Sam is just giving the racist losers more to work with. Look at the way people are talking about Sam Wilson right now. It's gross. Now, I don't know who's talking shit about Sam Wilson or Anthony Mackie. The only problem most actual Marvel fans have with Sam Wilson is with him replacing Steve Rogers as Captain America. Because it's dumb. Steve Rogers is Captain America. Sam Wilson is Falcon. Period. And don't give me this shit about Sam being Captain America in the comics. That shit didn't happen until 2015 with the all-new, all-different Marvel, which means it didn't happen in any comics that actually matter. No one bought those comics. No one likes those comics. All new, all different literally destroyed the comics industry. And the stories that were told in those terrible comics don't deserve to be called Marvel Comics and should have never been adapted. If Marvel had any brains amongst all the thousands of morons working there, they would scrap the entire lot. Everything from later than 2014, decanonize all that shit and start over. Sam Wilson is Falcon. And most Marvel fans really liked him. They liked the character, they liked the actor. Anthony Mackie is a great Sam Wilson. They like his role as an Avenger alongside the real Captain America. Why wasn't that good enough? Why wasn't Falcon a good enough identity for him? Why take away what made him special and distinct from the other heroes, and instead turn him into a derivative hand-me-down hero from someone else? Anyway, it appears that Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU, at least for Avengers Doomsday and probably Secret Wars, and is playing some version of Steve Rogers. Now, what's important to note is that we have no idea what his role will actually be in the movie. It could be just a small part. He could be playing a variant of Steve Rogers, and he may never even be referred to as Captain America. So, jumping to conclusions about how important he'll be, or whether he's going to replace Sam Wilson as Captain America, even though he should, is premature at best. But they are undoubtedly bringing Chris Evans as some form of Steve Rogers back, primarily for one reason. Because people actually paid to see movies with Chris Evans as Steve Rogers.
Shut up and take my money!
The MCU made a ton of money from 2008 to 2019 when Robert Downey Jr. led the MCU as Tony Stark and Chris Evans led the Avengers as Captain America. And the Russo brothers broke box office records with Infinity War and Endgame featuring those classic heroes. And what's happened since Endgame? Steve Rogers fucked off to the past to abandon his friends and the world. Tony Stark died, Natasha Romanoff died, Vision died, Wanda Maximoff turned into an evil witch, Hulk turned into a pussy, Thor turned into an idiot, and the Avengers disappeared. And Marvel Disney listened to people like this and tried desperately to make a new MCU with all new, all different characters molded in the image of woke imbeciles like this. They featured characters like Lady Loki, Yelena Belova, Kate Bishop, Shang-Chi, Monica Rambeau,
Black Girl Magic!
Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Ironheart, The Eternals, and of course, Black Captain America. And how'd that turn out, you ask? So, failure after failure, box office bomb after box office bomb. No one liked these new characters, or these new stories, or these movies or television shows. Phases 4 and 5 were absolute failures. Only movies that made any money were ones about heroes we already had, like Thor and Doctor Strange, Deadpool and Spider-Man. Almost every other entry, and there were literally dozens of them, failed, losing Marvel hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. So if you must know, that is almost certainly why Chris Evans is returning as Steve Rogers in the next Avengers movie. That's why Robert Downey Jr. is returning, and the Russo brothers. They are bringing back characters and actors and filmmakers who actually made successful movies, in place of the characters and actors and activist filmmakers who nearly bankrupted Marvel for the past 5 years. If Steve Rogers' return overshadows or delegitimizes Sam Wilson's Captain America, good, because Sam Wilson isn't Captain America. Steve Rogers is. And all you people griping about not wanting to watch Avengers Doomsday because Marvel is ignoring the characters and stories it's built up over the past 5 years, well, good also, because you obviously weren't supporting the MCU with those stories anyway. Remember, they gave Sam Wilson his very own Captain America movie just this year, and how did it do? Flopped. Why? Because either one, the woke Marvel fans didn't go see it, or two, there just aren't enough of those people to matter. Disney and Marvel fully embraced the debunked notion of the modern audience, and they spent the past half-decade making movies and shows aimed at modernized storytelling and diversity initiatives in an effort to satisfy what they thought was an army of progressive social justice warrior fans. But at the end of the day, Disney is a business that exists primarily to make money, and unfortunately, almost every project they've released aimed at that coveted demographic failed miserably, costing the company millions and alienating a large portion of its actual fan base. The fan base that made the pre-2020 MCU into the largest film franchise in the history of everything. So now, is it that surprising that the company, which exists to make money, is attempting to rekindle some of that lost interest with characters, actors, and filmmakers that actually succeeded? I mean, the only question that really matters now is, will it work? Anyway, what do you think? Are you mad, excited, or indifferent to the return of Chris Evans' Steve Rogers in Avengers Doomsday? Do you think bringing back legacy characters like this is going to win back some of the MCU's old fan base? Join the conversation in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Bye for now. We hope to see you next time in the Culture Wars.